supposed to be live, and it shows we're live. Let's reload. And there we go. Copy link. And right there, Control V. Control again. There we go. And update. All right. Haven't been liking the way the video has been looking on the last couple of live streams. So I'm actually trying something different. I'm trying to use the phone as opposed to the built-in camera for the iMac, just to see if it happens to look a little bit better. But anyhow, let me get a view of what we look like, and I think we're all right. So anyhow, guys, thank you all again for coming in. This is we're running a little bit late. Could not get Taps to send me a verification for the second account so that I could do this, because I'm actually, I'll show you kind of what the setup is right now. We'll go live here. You can see that. And let's see here. Where is my, oh yeah, I got to go there and turn the camera on. See, I've got the camera set up right there. Go ahead and bring that back. So that's how everything is looking right now. So it looks a little different, but not horrendous. So, but anyhow, and actually, I think, who knows, maybe my lips may be a little off just because there's maybe two different processings going on. But anyhow, let's jump back over here and there. And let's go to lock the camera off on that one. So, all right. So this week we are talking about the tall poppy. And this is an issue that a lot of us actually suffer from. We actually, either we are cutting the tall poppies down, or we're seeing ourselves as the tall poppy, and so we end up cutting ourselves down. Tall poppy syndrome is a phenomenon where we see somebody who is succeeding, and we turn around and we actually cut them down. One of the biggest examples of what tall poppy syndrome is when you see someone who has got some, just went off and bought like a brand new boat, got a new boat, they're delivering it to the lake, and you see some people around and they see that nice boat, maybe a big houseboat or whatever, and somebody's going to say, you hear someone say, well, that must be nice. That is, as a whole, what tall poppy, that sums up tall poppy syndrome in a very nice tight nutshell, because it's not, we're feeling bad about the fact that we don't get to have that great big old giant houseboat. Instead, we are sitting around wishing that we had, instead of actually taking the steps to do so. So tall poppy syndrome is where we try to make the person who has become successful, who has grown above the other poppies, has gotten ahead of everybody else, and we're trying to bring them down to our level, instead of trying to aspire to go up to the level they are. We're just cutting them down. We're saying, oh geez, that must be nice to have a brand new car to drive around. I'm driving around in a 15-year-old beater, almost. Now it's 12 years old. But tall poppies are, in all reality, a great thing. We need to have tall poppies in society. We need to have those people who strive and actually achieve a higher level than what we are at, for a couple different reasons. One of the biggest reasons that having a tall poppy around you, and actually it's even better if you can actually take that tall poppy and bring it into your social group, because all of a sudden he lifts everybody else up. You There's several times where tall poppies are very prevalent in in a capitalist system. And so many people actually, bash against that. Oh, well, he's just getting rich off little people. Well, no, he's not. He's actually, because he is a tall poppy, he is able to do more to bring everybody else around him up. And actually, tall poppies are a great thing, but yet we feel bad because it reflects upon ourselves that we haven't been able to actually do do what we would like to do. And the reasons why we haven't done what we would like to do is actually because we have chosen to not do those. And because we've made that choice to not do and reach for the greatness that we have decided to not use our minds to the fullest extent. We have decided that, hey, it's nicer just to sit on a couch and watch, 3 seasons of a television show instead of pursuing our goals, pursuing our dreams. We then start to feel guilty because we see someone who is actually not spending time watching, 4, 5, 8 hours of Netflix. Instead, they're actually going out and they're hustling their butts off, making sure that they get themselves up to a level where they become more recognized. They get themselves out in front of people a lot more. And because they do that and we don't, that's where we start to have a little bit of a problem with what we are, who we and how we view ourselves. And because we are starting to view ourselves in a negative light, we shy away from that. That's very uncomfortable feeling. And to shy away from that, we decide, you know what, I'm going to knock this big old tall son of a gun down because he doesn't have a right to make me feel bad. Well, if you understand the way I've explained emotions before, he is not making that tall poppy, that successful person isn't making me feel bad. He is not. I am making me feel bad. My emotions are my own. Your emotions are your own. We all have our very own emotions, and what we feel is completely independent of what everybody else around you. You can have someone who is just being a grump button, being just mean to everybody, and you can either choose to feel what he wants you to feel. Say he's wanting you to be miserable. He's wanting you to not have fun. Or you can choose to feel sorry for the guy and have fun in spite of it. You can have all the fun you decide you want to have. That choice is completely up to you. It depends on how you want to do the thought work. How do you want to think about what that current situation is? Because you have a situation, a circumstance, that circumstance actually creates a thought. And that's all a circumstance does. Have a circumstance. The boss looks at you funny. You can either choose to go, well, he thought I must have a hair out of place and he thinks that I look weird. Or he doesn't like me. The boss hates me. Oh my gosh. And you can either go down, a whole myriad of different paths you can go down, emotional paths, but the emotion comes from the different thoughts that we have. If you want to change an emotion, you can change a thought. So when it comes to being a tall poppy, instead of cursing that person and going, well, gee whiz, he's got stuff that I would like to have. He must have cheated somebody out of that. Well, no, he didn't cheat anybody. He provided a service. Most entrepreneurs, most capitalists, they provide a service. I've got a hair that's curling up the wrong way and it keeps tickling the end of my nose. The vast majority of entrepreneurs actually want to provide a service. And because they provide a service and they find the people who their service is tailored for, that's how they're able to actually make money. There are those folks out there who view capitalism as being this immoral premise that, that everybody who's in business is out to cheat the other person, and that's actually farthest from the truth. Because if we were to cheat and steal and lie and were to not provide any value to a person, we would go out of business. Because one, if people did spend money with us and we were able to talk them into it and we swindled them out of that money, we didn't provide all the value, well, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to come back. While if you actually take the chance, if you provide the value, or actually even give more value than what they paid for, those people are more likely going to come back and use your service again. So if you want to become a tall poppy, you have to do the work to actually provide the better value. If you don't view yourself in high regards, guess what? You're not going to provide the other person high regards, because there's I don't know the exact Bible verse itself, but it's the second greatest commandment is love your neighbor as you love yourself. Which means if you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love your neighbor. So you have to start actually loving yourself. If you want to become successful, if you want to become a tall poppy, guess what? You have to really actually have a lot of pride and a lot of love for yourself. If you don't do that, and you don't think you're worthy of that money that you receive, you're not going to receive that money. It's going to show through on all the actions that you do that you're not worthy of what it is you're saying you want to do. There's people who can easily jump from one field to another field and easily draw everybody over, while there's other people who are struggled real hard to get up in a field, and they start to get into it, and then they jump over to another one, and it's just starting literally from ground. You're starting in the basement. You may have made it up to the second floor of a building, but starting over, all of a sudden you're down, not even on the first floor, you're down in the basement, and you have to climb yourself back up out of that basement onto the first floor just to get yourself started and up and going again. A lot of times those people are the ones who really do like to cut down the tall poppies. People who have a lot of different arguments about why they have to cut down the tall poppy, why that tall poppy is horrible. They're hoarding resources, and they don't share according to what the person's to what their needs are. They're not giving another person a chance. A lot of times people view entrepreneurs or tall poppies as people who are they steal from. The only way they got wealthy is because they stole from other people. That's the easiest way to actually look at it, because that's all of a sudden you're not making yourself look bad. You're trying to make another person look bad. But again, if you add just a little bit of thought to what you hear and what you say, and actually pose it with the question of, well, how does that actually serve? Does that work? It's like people who want to say that pharmaceuticals are out just to get rich. Well, no, if they were out just to get rich, they would provide the valuable medicines that work. Yeah, some people claim, they've got their arguments about, well, if they did, they would use marijuana wouldn't be on the list. They would allow it for more. And I don't believe that. I think that they are operating completely within what they can as the law, because especially when you become a larger company, you are primed for the government to just start picking you off. There's laws that in society, especially in the U.S., where it's the Sherman Act. I think it's 1890. I think is when it was, and that was a really horrible, terrible set of laws, because it's a checkmate for all businesses, because you can't make too much money. If you're charging too much money, you're price gouging. If you're charging too much little money, you're trying to make a monopoly, and you're cutting out competition. And if you try to make your prices the same as everybody else, you can be hit for price fixing. So there are people who made those laws up who were actually trying to cut down the tall poppies. And because that they've cut down all those tall poppies, that's the big problem that a lot of people have. I'm going to check on something real quick here. Yeah, I did. Okay. And so when with the it doesn't serve a farmers, a big pharma, as they like to call it, because they've gotten large enough, they've collected enough money. A lot of the looters and looter class of people, those who are in power and go, you know what, you can do without just a little bit of money. You make it up. They find ways to extort money out of different businesses, which in all reality is completely and totally wrong. They are, in fact, trying to cut down those tall poppies. The senators and things like that who have never been able to make, hold a business open for very long, or if at all. You have people who actually take that their position in government as a means to be able to punish those tall poppies. So the tall poppy syndrome should be celebrated. You should look at it, and when you see someone who is being, they show up in a limo, they step out and they've got a beautiful looking suit on. You see them walk out and they've got an expensive watch on. They just look dressed in the nines, and they have all the girls' attention turned to them. Instead of saying it must be nice, it's like, man, that is nice. Celebrate with that guy. Be with him in spirit, in the fact, and rejoice in his success, and trying to see if you can find a way of getting to a level where you can be in his network, or you can find a way to get him into your network. Because Jim Rohn has said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I've actually modified that so where you actually are the average of the 5 people you spend the most intentional time with. Spend as much time intentionally with other people, and as you continue to do so, you're not going to sink. You're not going to stay low. You can't help yourself but step up to the next level and the next level, and become a better, greater, more awesome person, and become that taller poppy. Because believe it or not, even when you are sitting there cutting this person, that tall poppy, down, because he's got a nice house, and drives a really nice car, and he's got everything that you want in material values, there's somebody who is below you looking at you going, this son of a gun, and is trying to cut you down. While if you help the tall poppy, whoever is more successful than you rejoice and you celebrate their success, they're going to actually help feed your root system so that you become a taller poppy also. So just a real short video today. I just wanted to kind of voice that, just something that had been, well, it's beginning of the year, so I go through and listen to Atlas Shrugged, and just everything that I've heard the characters talk about in the I'm at, and if you want to know where I'm at, I'm just starting the Galt's 3-hour speech. So there we go. This is going to be I'm getting close to the end of the book, but it's you see so many mindsets of other people who are of the looter class, and how they're trying so hard desperately to make sure that Hank Reardon, they hold him down and make him feel guilty for being successful, but still stay him successful, still keep him working. And it's such a you see what they talk about on the book, and then you view how people look on in real life, and it's just you see some similarities. And one of the big ones that kept jumping into my head is, wow, so many people wanted to cut down that tall poppy named Hank Reardon. They want to cut down that tall poppy named Dagny Taggart. They wanted to cut down that tall poppy of Francisco d'Anconia. And what happens when those tall poppies actually do cut themselves down and pull themselves up out of the poppy field and go someplace else? What happens then? And it's actually a neat way to look at stuff. So anyhow, so guys, you see a tall poppy walking around, and you feel a tinge of jealousy. Reframe that thought that's causing that jealousy, and put it in frame it into a means where you can actually celebrate the guy who is multiple levels above you. It may feel weird, may feel uncomfortable, but that's good, because discomfort is actually where you grow too. So all right, guys, with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you go. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week. All right, till then, bye.